So if you are fake, people will find you out. If you are lying from a stage front, people will find you out. But if you are honorable and honest through and through, and you are who you say you are 100% of the time, then you should never have anything to worry about because you are congruent, and that congruency is what helps you have more influence over the people that you are leading. Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Matthew Welsh, and welcome to the Leaders Only podcast, where we talk about business, leadership, mindset, and it's pretty much anything revolved around building an incredible life. You know, the reason that I started this podcast is because I felt like on the way to where we're at now, there wasn't really a place to go learn tangible skill sets, leadership qualities, and mindset strategies that you can learn today, apply today, and get immediate results. And so the goal of this podcast is to teach you the things that you need to actually win, to actually change your life, and to actually grow your business and grow your team if you're someone that's in a leadership role. And so if you can do me a favor, if you ever get something out of our message, if you ever get something out of the content, if you can like, share, subscribe, just tell people about it. We put out all this information for free. And so all we ask is that you share it with a friend if you get something out of it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much, and let's tune in.
Let's go. I'm a big mood. You can't name a lot of things that I did.
Today, I'm going to be talking about something that's so crucial to improving the quality of your leadership. In fact, if you are not operating in this manner, it could be the reason your business isn't scaling. It could be the reason your team is losing and or failing. And it could be the reason that you do not have the respect of your people and or they do not listen to you, even though you might be in a leadership role and or a role that should have influence. And so the subject that I'm going to be discussing today is the subject of being congruent, being the same person in leadership, in business, as you are outside of business and outside of leadership. Because there's a lot of people who are one person from stage, but they're another person behind the scenes. They say one thing in public, but then they say another thing in private. They operate with integrity in the office, but then on a Friday night or a Saturday night, they're operating in a manner that's not respectable. And I think that if you want to have the highest form of leadership, the highest level of leadership, it requires you to be the same man or woman in public, in a public setting, the same man or woman that you are on social media, the same man or woman that you are in business and are in the leadership role and are in the office as you are outside of business. Because at the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself. If you are one person on stage and then another person on the Friday night, you will always be aware of how you behaved on Friday night. And that affects your confidence when you enter the office that next Monday. And that affects your ability to be influential, and it affects your ability to believe in you. And those who are the most influential are those who believe in what they are doing. They believe in what they are saying. They believe in their cause. They believe in what they stand for. And so those who believe will be believed, and those who are convinced will be convincing. So how can you be convincing if you haven't convinced yourself to operate at a certain level? How can people believe you if you don't even believe in you, because you know you're one person in business and another person outside of it? So I want to challenge you to be congruent, and I want to tell you a couple stories that I think will be impactful in your life, and it will lead to helping you becoming more congruent, which will then help you becoming more influential. So the first story that I want to tell you is actually a story of my mom. My mom has always been in a leadership role. In fact, I actually learned the majority of the principles that I operate in leadership from her. She's one of the reasons that I'm passionate about leadership. She gave me my first leadership book by John Maxwell. And so my life would not be what it is, and my ability to lead people would not be what it is if I didn't witness her in leadership throughout my entire childhood and throughout my entire life. And so my mom has always led daycare. She's led youth groups. She's the leader of a worship team. Right now, she's one of the head counselors at a private school. She's always been in a leadership role. And so I remember when I was very young, and as I got into leadership, she told me this story. And basically what the story is my mom used to put on for her daycare basically a treasure hunt for all of the kids, where there'd be a team lead, and the team lead would have a group of different kids. They would have a driver, one of the school vans or one of the daycare vans, and they would do a scavenger hunt all across San Diego looking for the buried treasure. And so one of the clues of the scavenger hunt was always at our family home, where my mom and dad would create like a pirate setting at our home, and all the kids would come there looking for the clue, looking for the treasure, and they would take this big 6x6 piece of wood, they would lay it across the pool, and you would have to quote unquote walk the plank to the other side of the pool in order to get the next clue. And so one day, a team leader, one of the staff members, shows up with the kids, and they get to my mom's home. They get to our family home. And the staff member asked my mom if it was okay to search through all of her drawers and search through the home. And my mom was in shock because nobody had ever asked her that question before of, can I search your entire home? And so my mom willingly said, of course, go look through everything. She didn't know why. She asked why, but the person basically just said, hey, listen, can I tell you afterwards? And my mom said yes. And so because my mom trusted her, she said, I will allow you to search through all of my drawers. And that's exactly what she went on to do. She searched all the drawers. She searched the cabinets. She searched the closets. She searched everything. And then all of a sudden, at the end of her searching everything in the home, my mom asked her, she goes, hey, how come you wanted to search my entire home? And she said, because I wanted to see if you were the same person in the daycare as you were outside of the daycare. She said, because my entire family growing up would say one thing and then they would do something else. And everywhere I've ever worked in my entire career, I put a lot of trust into people, and I put all this trust into people. Then I would find out that they weren't congruent. I would find out they were one person here and another person there. It really hurt me. It really affected me. And so I wanted to make sure that if I was going to put my trust in you as a mentor, if I was going to put my trust in you as an employer, that I can trust that you would always do what's right for me. And for me, I needed to know that if you said that you don't have alcohol in your home, you mean it. I needed to know that if you preached one thing, you meant it because your home matched what you preached. And so thank you for giving me the ability to search your home, because it allows me to have trust in you and the fact that you are who you say you are. And that story has impacted me in such a positive way, because it means that I got to be the same person in my home as I am in business. Because if not, people will eventually figure me out. And I'm so glad that my mom was the same person in leadership as she was outside of leadership, because as these people came into her home, they realized the exact same thing, and it made them trust her more. So the second story that I want to tell you is the story of one of the leaders within our organization. And so he comes up to me one day, he goes, "Hey, listen, Matt, I'm kind of in a sticky situation." I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" He said, "Well, I have my personal assistant. My personal assistant also is within my base shop, meaning that she's a quote unquote leader within my organization, and I don't know what to do." I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "Well, we need our assistant to work out of our home, but our fear is that they're going to see us in our home and they're going to see what like our home is like." And I smiled and I looked at him. I said, "Listen, brother, are you the same person in business as you are outside of business?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Then why in the world would you ever be afraid of somebody entering your home and seeing how you operate in your home? In fact, that should allow them to trust you more, not trust you less." I said, "So as long as you are the same person in business as you are outside of business, and you're the same person in leadership as you are in your home, then there's nothing you should be afraid of. You should welcome your staff into your home, not push your staff out." And that right there shifted things for him, because he realized that, wow, I really got to make sure that I'm operating congruently. I really got to make sure that I'm the same person in business as I am outside of business. And that's been a big deal for us. I've had over 6 of the leaders in our organization live with us at one point, whether it was for a week, whether it was for a couple of weeks, whether it was a couple of months. I had the leaders live in our home for over a couple of years, actually, because they needed a place to stay. And so I'm not opening my home to people, but what I am telling you is this, is the reason I was comfortable allowing these people into our home is because I knew that I operated the same way in business as I did outside of business. So I had nothing to hide. I had nothing to worry about. I had nothing to worry about them seeing, because I was congruent and I was the same person. So I just want to challenge you to be the exact same way, because it allows you to be more confident in your own leadership, but it allows other people to trust you more, because eventually everyone will find you out. So if you are fake, people will find you out. If you are lying from a stage front, people will find you out. But if you are honorable and honest through and through, and you are who you say you are 100% of the time, then you should never have anything to worry about, because you are congruent, and that congruency is what helps you have more influence over the people that you are leading. Hopefully what I went over today will make an impact in your career and impact the way that you lead people. And so all I ask is that if you got something out of today's message, if you can like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about it. As you guys know, we put out all this information for free. All we ask is that if you learned at least one thing, you tell a friend, because hopefully we can change their life too. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next week on the Leaders Only podcast.